lounging, son.
Welcome back to the Comic Lounge. My name is Ryan, and today I'm going to be talking about a book that hasn't been released yet, but I was lucky enough to get an advanced copy from Fantagraphics. Fantagraphics has long been one of my favorite publishers. They've put out some of the best comic books in the history of comic books. You got Love and Rockets, you got Hate, you got 8-Ball, you got some of the newer stuff like Red Room. The reprints they do of old comic strips like Peanuts and the EC stuff. I could go on and on talking about, the amazing stuff by Jim Woodring. I think they put out so much awesome content, stuff that maybe I don't always necessarily gravitate towards. And this was something that kind of stood out to me, a book called Totem by Laura Pérez. And I read the description, which I'll read to you right now because that's what kind of lured me in. Sinister and beguiling, the narratives of Totem linger in the mind like a dark premonition. Two young women road trip through the Arizona desert in search of a spiritual awakening. Crowds gather to seek out a wise woman who can commune with the dead. Strange bright lights flash across the night sky, provoking all manner of interpretations. Double lives, lucid visions, altered states of consciousness. A mosaic of experiences wherein desperate characters, places, realities are entwined by some ethereal thread. And this is her solo English language debut. She's a Spanish comics artist, and as it says, spins a web of magic and mystery in wispy pencil lines. The cover alone is kind of what grabbed me as well, but that description just I was like, I have to check this out, and let me tell you, it did not disappoint at all. It was just as good as I figured it would be. I won't spoil too much because, like I said, it's not out. I don't want to kind of ruin it for everybody, but I feel comfortable and gave you the description. I'll kind of show off some of the pages. And again, like I said, Fantagraphics is one of my favorite publishers. They put out some of the nicest product too. Their paper stock is always really good. Their hardcovers are some of my favorite hardcovers. Design is always really awesome. This was translated by Andrea Rosenberg as well. But, you open up, and I just love this shot of looking from the ground up through the trees and just, how creepy they look and, the branches coming out, and you see this bird flying in. And you know what they always say, a crow left of the murder, and I love this. We just come upon this woman's hand that's just, laid out. And we zoom out, and we see these crows circling. This image right here, just seeing it, the people are there, but you don't see them, and I just love the imagery and the way she's telling this story just through her line work, and like they said, in the description, the wispy lines, I love her pencil work here. It's absolutely beautiful. And then we flash over and we meet the main characters of the book. We're hearing the news, right? Talking about the dead body that's been found. An architect who disappeared under strange circumstances last winter. So, assuming that it's been about a year that they didn't know where this body was, and now they found it. Always love seeing little black cats, too. I got one myself, so I love that little throw-in. Talking about, there was an intense interest in her disappearance. The body was found by an ancient settlement surrounded by a number of dolmens, which if you're not familiar with that is, it's like a megalithic tomb with a large flat stone laid on upright ones. Kind of interesting, it's a unique site. This is what catches her attention, and they still don't know why she disappeared, right? There's speculation that it was some sort of a ritual. The pacing of this too, just this it's so good, and I really love the coloring on this. I think it has a very almost like a cutout animation type style. It's really, really interesting. Definitely got to check out more of Laura's stuff. And now this is where we get the road trip. They're on their way. They're in Arizona. Love the landscape, the coloring. It's just really captures that desert vibe. And even as they're driving, they're like, oh, it's so gorgeous, but I wonder how many dead bodies are buried out there, which is kind of funny because I recently was on a road trip and I said that to my wife as we were driving, because especially Nevada, you hear about how the gangsters used to bury bodies out there. So I can only imagine, and then they're seeing these rocks again, stacked on top of each other. Just very very cinematic style to this. And then we walk up and there's just this dead crow. Even dead, it's beautiful. Now it's just an empty vessel. Just very, there's a poeticness to the dialogue and the writing of this book. Again, I love shots like this. Reminds me of a cover by Adrian Tomina that he did for one of his books that, like, Summer Blonde, I believe is the name of the book, and it just, like, completely captured me. Like, this is such a great singular image. Walking up to the motel, this woman just looks up at her creepily. And I just love this, the relationship between two of them, or the friendship. Like, as she's telling her, like, there's another weirdo out there. And they go, oh, I think I figured out another route. She says, did you hear me? And she's like, I'm just sick of them. They're endless, huh? And then, asking her to roll her a cigarette, and then we get, again, like, even this page kind of reminds me of a Love and Rockets page by Jaime. Just a lot of, I really would be curious to ask her who her influences are, because some of these, while they do remind me, and maybe they're not, an homage to them, but it does have that similar vibe. But I really love the lighting on them as they're standing out having a smoke. And then we jump back into the past. And I love it. I love this line. How many people are looking up at that same moon right now? Must be somebody. Remember what I told you. Don't talk too much. This is where it has like this like real ethereal quality. Even like the art style changes a little bit. You get this like dreamlike, and they're going to this woman that can talk to the dead and stuff, and it's just super creepy because she's like, sorry, this place is full of people. And then the kid's like, they're outside the room. She's like, no, here too. And it just like pans out to just the singular image of the hand sticking. And the way that this is depicted of the dead people that are in the room, and, talking about how something's happening to them, something yet to pass. Some are anxious, worried, afraid. Some don't even realize they're dead. There's a little of everything. And this is just such an ominous story that's taking place while we're having the main narrative as well. And then, the friends asked so she could see the dead. And so this is obviously a story from her grandmother, right? So it goes back generations. And I love this too. Like, as they're getting their breakfast, this server that just looks angry to be there. And the way they call it out, man, the look that lady gave us. And like, doesn't even faze her, right? Like, and talking about how dead people, their spirits all around us. And, of course, if you believe in the afterlife and you believe in ghosts, I mean, I do, I definitely do. Why wouldn't there people that have like, unfinished business that still, have yet to pass on to that final resting place? And talking about how it must be weird to be around, nobody can see you, and if they're here, it's for a reason. It seems like some people can't see them. It seems like some people can see them, special people, and people with abilities. And she's like, yeah, but there's been a lot of charlatans, like, fake people that say that too. And she's like, do you think they watch us when they're in the shower? If I turned into a ghost, I would watch you shower. And she's like, you'd give me a good scare, that's for sure. Now again, they're traveling down through Arizona, and I like this. I love getting to see the little side stuff, and I've seen plenty of those with like the souvenir shops with meteors or alien jerky, and I love how they kind of Laura depicts that in this book. And then we get this like super ominous flash into this other story here. And this is now we're with the architect that was found buried. Very creepy and almost like a scene from a horror movie. And I like that she goes to black and white as she's switching from the different narratives. Beautiful line work. And just the subtle, zooming in and having the lights turn out. And we go back to the little kid who said she visited the woman who sees things. And this is like, you can see the like fear in her, like just like very creepy horror vibes, but not in a gratuitous way. Like, this is the kind of like tension that I love to see build. And again, like, just plays into what I've been saying is the cinematic feel to this book. And then these lights that are coming up. To me, you often hear people refer to like, a presence being symbolized in like little balls of light that come at you, or like their experiences with thinking they've seen, somebody, a ghost or an ethereal form in the form of balls of light. And I think that that's pretty cool too, to like showcase it in that way, and these kids can see it. So yeah, I won't get too much more into the story. I will just kind of, show a few more pages because I just think it's just such a beautiful book. And there's like a simplicity, especially like I can imagine like if you're an artist, you probably will appreciate it even more than I am just as a fan. But I can't even describe to you how stoked I was when I was able to get this book and check it out, and like everything about this book is breathtaking. This was something that stood out to me. I will stop on this real quick. This question to the woman that can see the dead. When people die, what do they do? Some stay for a while, and it's interesting, watching the woman over her physical form as she's passed, and this child looking over her own grave. They can stay as long as they want, as long as they need. Really dives deep into feelings of like, where do we go from here? Is there another plane of existence? And I think it's just very deep on many levels. And it's so much like in the description, there's definitely like an ethereal vibe. It's not a straightforward narrative throughout the book. There's a lot of ways that you can interpret it. Again, we get some scenes with our main characters, little hitchhiker coming on board. I love this scene too. Like, anyone that knows, obviously, like I'm on the West Coast, so I've seen a lot of these landscapes, and it's so cool to see them. She captures the energy of the landscape so well, from the coloring to the way she draws the rocks. Just absolutely love this. So yeah, that's show off a couple more of these pages before I close the book. All right, that's all I'm going to show you. I won't get to the end of the book. I'll let you guys experience that for yourselves. But if you have seen this solicited, get out there, ask your local comic shop to order you a copy if you dug what you saw. Or if you don't have a local comic shop by you, hit up Fantagraphics. They have a great online store. All their stuff stays in print pretty well. They do a really good job of keeping their books in print. Back catalog of stuff, like some of the books I mentioned at the top of the episode, are available from them as well. They always have really cool sales, Fanta bucks too. When you spend a certain amount of money, you get that back in store credit that you can use on a future purchase. So hit them up, hit up your shop. Definitely recommend this book. I definitely will be checking out more of Laura's work moving forward. Definitely going to seek some of that out, throw it up on the channel as well. And make sure you follow us on social media. All the links are down below. Hit the subscribe button so you're notified every time a new video drops. And on that note, I'm out.